Hi, I'm attorney Nate Gilbert in San Antonio, Texas, and today I want to talk about when we cannot use a Wyoming LLC. Wyoming LLCs are used very commonly for LLC owners in Texas that have concerns about anonymity. Anonymity goes a step farther than privacy. I've done some videos explaining the difference and when we use Wyoming LLCs for the anonymity purpose versus privacy and changing addresses and things like that. However, when using a Wyoming LLC, we cannot use Wyoming LLCs for Texas PLLCs. A Texas PLLC can only be comprised of members that have professional licenses or entities that are only composed of members with professional licenses. That's kind of the deal there. When we make a PLLC, we can only have professional members or professional entities. So it's turtles all the way down. And if you don't get that reference, you can kind of Google that phrase and see what I'm talking about there. For the PLLC itself, we cannot use a Wyoming LLC as a member of that organization. However, we can still use a Wyoming LLC as a manager of that organization. When you're doing this, there are some caveats to that advice. A Wyoming LLC as a manager of a healthcare company, for instance, or a group of physicians, is going to be under some scrutiny for the Corporate Practice of Medicine Act, as well as anti-kickback statutes. If you are in the medical space and subject to those laws, you'll need to consult with some kind of healthcare attorney specializing in these kind of organizations. You might hear the phrase management service organizations, or MSOs. In the healthcare space, that's going to be a very specific thing. But in other spaces, depending on the regulatory agency that you have overseeing the license that you have, a PLLC may have a Wyoming LLC as a manager or list the manager on the certificate of formation. Now, that's going to bring up a lot of different things when we're talking about the Wyoming LLC. If you have a Wyoming LLC and you are using it in Texas, again, I've given this advice in several different videos and different articles. We need to make sure that that Wyoming LLC is registered to do business in Texas. When you have that Wyoming LLC using it for the PLLC in Texas, make sure you're checking all those boxes and making sure that you're actually using it for the right purposes.